Good morning, everybody. Andrew Smith is my name. These are sunglasses. I travel in the UK with sunglasses, and this is the only time in years I've ever had to actually wear them. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to speak to you this morning. I guess I'm here because of some of the things I've been involved in the past, which include most of the tidal projects and some of the wave projects that are running right now, and I've been involved in those in various guises. As has just been said, I now have my own consultancy, which is involved in these areas, helping businesses to structure themselves, helping them with strategy, helping them find funding. And I'm finding myself involved still in the marine sector, as well as others. I'm associated also with the Greenbackers Clean Tech Group, a group of people that also fundraise, but they also represent a fund useful for EIS and SEIS registered businesses, and I have a few exec and non-exec roles. But enough about me. Let's get on to cost reduction. I've got a couple of slides on cost reduction, and I've kind of chopped this up into the areas that we've been talking about this morning. And I wonder whether people look at cost reduction sometimes in the right way. Usually PowerPoints are full of nice curves, of different angles, and actually I think we should have more steps in there. I think there need to be big step changes in what we do and what we deliver. That's what we should be. That's what we should be looking for. And as Steve indicated, in terms of the times when learning takes place, and learnings from other sectors, it's not just about getting down the cost curve when we get orders for hundreds of what we're producing. You know, that I said to somebody on the phone a couple of weeks ago that I thought that kind of thinking was intellectually lazy. I don't think they were that happy about it, but because I'm on my own, it doesn't matter too much. You know, you need to be looking for those changes before then. You can't just rely on that. It's okay, when we make hundreds, it'll be cheaper. I also think that we don't talk often enough about the somewhat uneven playing field that is presented to us as a sector. You know, the nuclear industry, Hinkley C, it used to be talked about quite a lot at these events, and it isn't really talked about anymore. And it's really an outrage that you know, they've got a deal at 92.5 quid for years with no grid, no decommissioning. Where the value is for the members of the public in that deal, I have absolutely no idea. But we are constantly beaten over the head with that. And I think we should rail against that a little bit. I'm all for collaboration and cooperation, I hasten to say, but we mustn't forget about stuff like that. I talk to the venture arms of oil and gas majors quite a lot about different projects. And I was talking to one of them in London 2 weeks ago, and I asked him about the marine sector. And he said the guy in his group that looked at that had concluded it just couldn't get down the curve enough. There was no chance of that happening. Now, I told him to his face I thought he was absolutely wrong. I thought that was a view based on maybe a couple of years ago. And I'm absolutely delighted to hear of the work that's going on right now with the catapult and the industry. Because that kind of work, if we can convince, not just government, yes government, if we can convince people like that there's a credible story here. These oil and gas majors are looking for the next thing that's going to happen in this sector. And this work is, I couldn't commend it enough to you. And if you can collaborate with it, you know, please do that. We do need an industry position, there's no question. We need a target. And if we get that, then, you know, I think we could get the kind of investment the industry's crying out for. This is kind of could be regarded as my rant slide, if you like. This £57.50 thing, the offshore wind thing, you know, it's not actually been delivered yet at that price. People talk about it as a fact. It's a fact it's been bid. It's not been delivered. Now, maybe it will be, I don't know. Anyway, certainly it's regarded that the job is done now, £57.50. We've got a great demonstration of the CFD mechanism, and it's really delivered for the UK economy. But what quite has it delivered? Well, it's halved the price in a couple of years, I guess. There's a multi-billion pound industry now, with great benefits for the UK supply chain, and there's also a homegrown industry with manufacturing jobs and profits all retained in the UK. No, there's not. That doesn't exist. And it doesn't exist because of what Christoph was talking about. It doesn't exist because that ball was dropped. The manufacture of these things went elsewhere, and it could be here. And that's really the lesson, I think, for this sector, and it's the lesson we need to be banging on to our representatives, government about, particularly in these Brexit days, when they want an industrial strategy. The next two big offshore technologies, I think, that are going to really deliver for UK are floating wind and tidal. And, you know, wave is anchored here as well. And all of these things that Christoph's talking about, economic development at the margins of Europe, these sectors can deliver. We've got to be really positive about all of that. The cost reduction economic benefit argument, don't have those conversations without mentioning Hinckley, please. You know, keep banging away at that. Hinckley, you know, we're told we've got to use and demonstrate our technology and show that it works. They haven't built one of these things yet, anywhere in the world, anywhere in the world. And the economic benefit, where's that going? Well, I think Chinese money and Internet French getting built. But this is the big thing that we're, anyway, probably enough of that. Economic benefit, what can we do? Well, you know, I've been here all morning, and we've had some reference to carbon reduction and stuff like that. But when I worked for Simon Di Pietro, who many of you will know, who's a fantastic guy, and his mum, Maureen too, they never started anything like this without mentioning the words climate change. You know, nobody said that yet this morning. I think that's astonishing. That's what this is about. If you get straight into a conversation about economic benefit without mentioning climate change, you're missing a trick. So don't be frightened about mentioning that. I absolutely get that there has to be a business case behind all of this. That's what I'm all about. But this is all about saving the planet at the end of the day. So if you get past that, what do we talk about here? We talk about jobs, we talk about new industries, can these industries export? We talk about valuable IP, centres of excellence, we talk about maybe helping to save the planet so there's actually an economy left to support. And marine energy can deliver on all of those. The industrial strategy, the 10 pillars upon which it was built, I think we scored 9.5 out of 10. So we can do it. These are the discussions we need to be having all the time. And you know, don't forget about collaboration. Collaboration, the pleasant C word, that's what we need, and that's what we've been hearing about this morning with the work that the Catapult are doing on behalf of the industry. So the last piece of this, I think, is commercialization. Now, I often wonder whether people understand what that actually is. You know, we all talk about commercialization. I sometimes think we're having different conversations. So I put a definition up there, what I think it is. And I think more importantly, it's not really important, I think, it's what the funders think it is. That's what it is. That's what you've got to get to. It's not the same as an exit. People think exiting their business and selling it for something, some money, is commercialization. It's not. We've got to bear in mind what it is before we try and deliver it. So you've got to work out very early on in your journey what commercialization is for you and your business and what it might look like. And then you've got to work out, do you have the skills to achieve it in your business or not? And you've got to be honest about that. And if you don't, then you've got to get those skills in, because there's no point in doing it if you don't have those skills. The key with commercialization is planning really early. Some conclusions from me. We as an industry need to frame this debate around it. And this piece of work that's being talked about now is essential. It's absolutely essential for all audiences, for government, for investors. If we can get credibility around us getting down the cost curve and being an important part of the energy mix going forward, I'm telling you the investment is there. I talk to these people. They want to get into this, but their boards won't let them because the story we're giving them isn't good enough yet. I'm also colourblind, by the way. That was a good line, Christoph. I like that. So also we need to look for steps, step changes, not gliding down curves. We need to collaborate as a sector and industry, no question about that. We need to mobilise the support of the populace. We are told all the time, we sense anecdotally, that the public supports marine energy, wave energy and tidal energy. I think that's right, absolutely right, and I think Louise is coming up to talk about platforms and the use of platforms, and that's a great way of democratising this sector, of getting yourself a lot of champions to go and speak to their own MPs about it all. We need to collaborate. You guys need to make a plan about where your business is, where it's going, but you've got to be flexible. And again, we need to collaborate. That's the most important thing. Thank you very much.